Is Sydney Sweeney the problem or just a symptom of one? A symptom of an industry that packages women as consumable fantasies and then mocks them for being too easy to consume.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Eyes up here.
She's talented, undeniably, but that's not what made her famous. She plays characters that are objectified, broken, watched, and wanted. And somehow, that bled into real life. She posts a bikini pic and it's a think piece. She sells a bar of soap and it's a scandal. Even her new campaign with American Eagle has become a dissertation about this very topic. And the funny part is that Sydney is feeding this very machine and sometimes being the one spearheading it.
You can take the dude out of the country. You can't take the country out of the dude. Wish you were here.
She's everywhere. On your screen, in your feed, in your fantasies, in your bathwater, and now in your jeans. So here's the question. Is she capitalizing on the male gaze or trapped inside it? And if we're uncomfortable, is it because of her or because she's holding up a mirror? Welcome to the Problem with Sydney Sweeney. Hey everyone and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Angela here and I have a very special video for you about none other than the modern day symbol Sydney Sweeney. While she first turned heads playing the emotional and chaotic character of Cassie on Euphoria, she has since become everywhere with her rom-com movie with Glenn Powell that broke relationships left and right, to her latest American Eagle campaign where she's selling jeans while the conversation is directly about Sydney's jeans and where she's been blessed.
My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
This makes me wonder, is Sydney Sweeney a savvy brand builder leveraging sexuality, or is she a symptom of Hollywood's inability to let women be seen as complex beyond sex appeal? This is the main question I want us all to answer by the end of this video, depending on what conclusion you all arrive at. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, like and subscribe for new videos every week, put those post notifications on so you don't miss the live chat premiere we do for every single video, and follow us on social media, especially our new Instagram, The Scandalous Media. And now, let's get into the problem with Sydney Sweeney. Even if she's in on it, she's still the punchline. It all started in October 2024 when Sydney teamed up with the men's personal care company Dr. Squash for a body wash campaign where she's in the bath looking all seductive and talking in a very sultry way. She starts the ad saying, "Hello you dirty little boys," and
Are you interested in my body? Wash.
The entire ad is very suggestive, even with the faces she makes, the entire purpose of the ad, what she's hinting at, and down to the number of the ad being 69 and the tagline saying, "It's moisturizing." It went viral on Instagram, garnering over 1.7 million likes, and that was only the start of what was to follow. They posted a few more ads with Sydney as the body wash genie, playing into the
Let's face it, guys only want one thing.
Take the thumbnail for the ad Coconut Quake. The guy's cross-eyed while Sydney stands behind him holding two coconuts, playing into the obsession everyone has with her chest. The ad, which has over 10 million views, shows Sydney saying,
What's your wish? It could be anything.
and the guy is in a dream talking about what? You guessed it. Coconuts. And the ad that first seemed targeted toward women with the tagline "Girls Love Options" has only 1.4 million views as Sydney teases the variety of scents the body wash comes in because
Ladies, we just want one thing, and that's natural body wash for our guys, of course.
a couple of months later in May 2025, she collaborated with the brand Dr. Squatch again to create a new soap that is infused with a touch of her bath water. They made 5,000 bars of the soap dubbed Sydney's Bathwater Bliss and sold them online for $8 each. They quickly sold out, and at one point, those bars were getting resold for as high as $1,600. When announcing her latest soap collab, Sydney referenced the viral comments from her 2024 Dr. Squash post, specifically the ones joking about fans wanting to buy the bathwater she was sitting in. She said, "When your fans start asking for your bathwater, you can either ignore it or turn it into a bar of Dr. Squash soap. It's weird in the best way, and I love that we created something that's not just unforgettable. It actually smells incredible and delivers like every other Dr. Squash product I love." The brand first teased the collab writing, "Want to take a shower with Sydney Sweeney?" The next day, they posted Sydney once again in a bathtub and claimed that this limited edition soap is infused with her actual bathwater, writing, "Why? Because y'all wouldn't stop asking." And Sydney said, "Let's do it." What a legend. Oh, and what does it smell like, they wrote? Morning wood.
It's weird. It's weird.
One Reddit user wrote, "Legally, you can't actually sell sanitary products unless they are, well, clean, so it's just an ad hook." Another said, okay, for real though, did she just get addicted to the hustle, or is she drowning in debt?
My biggest issue with Sydney Sweeney is that I feel like she consistently cheapens her own brand, and it's a hard watch.
So here's where things got weird, or weirder. After Sydney announced the soap collab, the internet, as it always does, ran with the most unhinged idea possible, that the bar of soap had a hole in the middle. Like, intentionally. For reasons you can probably guess. People started posting fake unboxings, writing jokes like, my husband's Sydney soap came with a hole.
Yes! It's gonna be the perfect hole!
What is
Baby,
that?
it's gonna be the perfect hole.
Is that the Sydney Sweeney soap?
Or, my brother won't stop using it.
Why does it have a hole in it?
And honestly, it got picked up so fast, I assumed it was real too. I genuinely thought this brand signed off on that until I actually checked. Spoiler, there's no hole, it's just soap. This started turning people off, mainly women, due to how eager people were to turn a woman's product of collab into something gross, even when it's packaged as a joke and she's in on it. When asked about where the idea came from, she said,
Where did the idea come from? It just came out of the air.
When E! News asked her about this at the Echo Valley premiere, she said,
How did that creative concept come to be?
I pitched it.
she seems to not only enjoy the attention that came from the soap, but would rather the conversation to keep going, saying,
I think that it's more fun to see everybody else talk about it.
she was even more than glad to sign a Dr. Squash soap at the premiere, but I'm not really sure if she realized it was not her soap, but instead the Rainforest Rapids scent.
Okay.
I just had to.
Of course you did. You're gonna have the one and only.
Can you sign one?
Thank you so
One
much.
and only.
We'll talk about Sydney being a marketing genius and kind of a hypocrite later in the video. Still, the verdict was clear. The campaign worked, it kept Sydney in the spotlight, the soap sold out almost instantly, and at its peak, resellers were listing bars for thousands. So what's next? Simple. Keep the momentum going. Enter the American Eagle campaign. From bathwater to blue jeans. The soap sold out, the internet lost its mind, so naturally, the next step was jeans. Sydney Sweeney has great jeans is the tagline for her new campaign with American Eagle jeans, and I gotta say, the marketing is genius because as we all know, this whole gimmick sells.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
There's this constant conversation about how she's naturally blessed, how it's just genetics. So of course the campaign plays on that. Great genes becomes great jeans, and she's literally wearing both. It's clever, it's cheeky, and it's totally intentional.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
But at one point, is it too much? There is one ad in particular where Sydney throws her head back, looking breathless as she zips something up, the camera lingers, zooms out slowly, and then reveals she's zipping up her jeans. And there it is again, the tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. It's suggestive, obviously. Whether it's meant to imply something or just flirt with the idea, it plays into the same sensual fantasy, one that's always just beneath the surface of these campaigns. The message isn't explicit, but it doesn't need to be. It's up for interpretation, and the interpretation it invites is deliberate. In this ad, Sydney says she's not here to sell you jeans or brag about how comfy they are,
Or that they make your butt look amazing.
but the tagline says it all. Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. The camera stays locked on her body, turning the jeans and her into the real product. The campaign is less about selling jeans and more about selling the fantasy of Sydney wearing them.
Those are cute jeans.
You're cute jeans.
In another shot, we see her laying down as the camera pans upward toward her bare stomach and unzipped jeans. And already the scene is suggestive, with Sydney pulling up the jeans so you don't really know where she's going with it at first. She's talking about genetics this time, saying,
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
She speaks in a sultry tone, stares straight into the camera with bedroom eyes, and the vocal fry is basically a co-star right next to the main star of the show, the jeans.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
My genes are blue is crazy work. It's echoing the language of white purity politics and the purity of blonde hair and blue eyes.
This brings me to the next part of the video, one where we return to the past. A place that, for many women, wasn't just nostalgic, it was a battlefield. And a throwback to a version of America that wasn't exactly kind to women, unless they fit the fantasy, of course.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring,
often determining traits like hair color, eye color. I'm Sydney Sweeney, and I'm white. I mean, I have great genes.
My genes are blue.
The new Americana, a risky return to the past. Now, the campaign takes a turn. Sydney's no longer just selling jeans. She's working on a classic 1965 Ford Mustang. She's bent over the engine, hands brushing denim, the camera lingering like it's a scene out of an old Americana film. This car isn't just a prop. The Mustang is an icon of American culture, a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and raw power. Born in the 60s, it captured a nation's spirit of breaking free from constraints, chasing the open road, and defining what it meant to be an American.
My jeans are blue. It's diabolical copy in this political climate. We can't keep pretending that media and marketing exist in a vacuum. That ad doesn't exist without the culture it's selling into.
Sydney next to that Mustang isn't random, it's pure American nostalgia. But Sydney, she's part of the scene and the show. The Mustang sells freedom, she sells the fantasy. They're catering to a specific crowd now, the people who still see America as the blue-eyed, blonde, skinny girl aesthetic that used to dominate our magazines and TVs. American Eagle primarily targets young adults with a core demographic of 15 to 25-year-olds. So this is something young, impressionable women are going to see, especially in time for the back-to-school season, with American Eagle CMO Craig Bromers likening it to the Super Bowl of denim.
Also, I'm thinking about all of the young girls who are doing their back-to-school shopping right now at places like American Eagle who are seeing ads like this. Yikes! Feels so for the male gaze and so oversized.
This is where the male gaze kicks back in hard. Women have long been objects in ads posed as symbols or fantasies to sell everything from cars to cigarettes. The imagery of the Mustang plays on this tradition. Sydney's body and denim aren't just about comfort or fashion, they're part of a scene that's designed to attract attention, to fuel desire, and yes, to sell a lifestyle wrapped in some masculine nostalgia. One Twitter user wrote, "It's incredible how quick culture shifted. 4 years ago, every ad was a morbidly obese girl that people pretended was attractive. Today, it's just a blonde smoke show wearing your product. America is back."
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean?
Another said, "American Eagle leaning into Americana like the last couple years never happened." Or, "Not to be a total degenerate, but obviously, America is back."
We're seeing a rise of anti-woke consumer branding. This campaign was engineered to resonate with a very specific audience.
Right away, you can see how this is tapping into that old America vibe, the very image many have spent decades fighting against. You know, the America where women didn't have basic rights, where racism was baked into the system, and so much more.
In this ad, by saying my body's composition is determined by my genes, Sydney Sweeney has great genes, it's saying that Sydney Sweeney has a great body and therefore great genes.
And therefore is a product of genetic superiority. Specifically saying these white, thin, traditionally feminine bodies are not just aspirational, but symbols of morality, tradition, purity.
Here's another one. I love how advertising has come full circle and is once again back in the correct phase of just putting hot chicks in ads than saying what your product is. It's much better that we are all honest about human psychology. The woke era is over.
The messaging for women is that you need to be desirable. This is what desirability looks like.
By the way, there was never really a time when ads didn't feature hot chicks. Sure, the landscape has shifted to include more diverse and relatable models, especially in campaigns aimed at women, but the idea that the woke era somehow pushed hot chicks out of advertisement, that's just not true. For context, the woke era generally refers to a cultural and social movement that focuses on increased awareness and activism around social justice issues like racial equality, gender rights, and challenging systematic discrimination and privilege. Originally, woke meant being aware of social issues, especially within communities fighting for justice. But as the term went mainstream, it sparked a backlash. Critics now use it sarcastically to mock what they see as over-the-top political correctness or cancel culture, something they label as anti-American. This backlash often targets women who don't fit a certain narrow ideal, those who aren't deemed attractive or useful within the framework of toxic masculinity.
She's hot because she's not beautiful, because she's accessible. She looks like she could have been your babysitter or your best friend's older sister.
To put it simply, eugenics is the belief that some people have better genes than others.
That's why you see viral tweets dismissing the body positivity movement as just a morbidly obese girl people pretend is attractive, while celebrating a nostalgic return of the true America, which was, what did they say? Oh yeah, just a blonde smoke show wearing your product.
I will be the friend that's too woke because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird.
I'm also a professor of something called narrative medicine. This Sydney Sweeney ad is really imbued with eugenic messaging. It is the both pseudoscientific and immoral notion that we can improve the human race, one of which is positive eugenics, so the encouraging of reproduction among people who possess certain positive or desirable characteristics, and negative eugenics, which is the discouraging of reproduction or even the killing off of people with certain negative traits.
Take a look at this headline from the National Post in March 2024. Wokeness is no match for Sydney Sweeney's undeniable beauty. We've been pressured into pretending everyone is beautiful, except for those who actually are.
What did he just say?
And here's where the waters get a little murky, because for a lot of people, this wasn't just Sydney Sweeney, hot, blonde, and marketable, selling jeans. It felt bigger than that.
Sydney Sweeney's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, thin, voluptuous, and all the right places body is being presented as a lineage of genes worthy of reproduction.
In terms of negative eugenics, of course, the most prime example we have is World War II, where the people who did those things in World War II didn't come up with those ideas. They were inspired by American and British eugenicists.
In a country fractured by political division and racial tension, centering a campaign around a blue-eyed, blonde-haired ideal while playing on the word jeans hit differently, especially when we're watching our government pour billions into overseas conflicts while the images of starving brown children barely register at home.
Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. Jeans made with 100% white cotton. These jeans are so pure, all the other jeans should be set on fire. These mixed polyester jeans should be rounded up and exterminated. We at American Eagle want one thing for the future. A place where one jean prevails. Come get them for $19.99 at our sweet summer sale.
Whether intentional or not, the campaign tapped into an old-school American fantasy, and for many, that fantasy has always come at someone else's expense.
Sydney Sweeney is not just blonde and blue-eyed, but makes a point of being blonde and blue-eyed, right? She talks about in the ad parents passing on traits like eye color, hair color, and a woman of color would not have been hired for this advertisement. That is a purposeful ad. The ads just don't sell us products. They sell us notions of love, normalcy, sexuality, what families are supposed to look like, what bodies are supposed to look like.
Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe it's just a blonde smoke show selling jeans, nothing more.
And I know you might be tempted to say it's not that deep, but I beg you to push back on that line of thinking, because this is how ideology spreads. It's not that deep until it's too late.
But in a time when censorship is tightening, when social media algorithms push propaganda and misinformation faster than ever, and when public trust in institutions is at an all-time low, it's hard to ignore the bigger picture, especially with data showing that over 60% of Americans say they feel manipulated by the media, and younger generations growing increasingly skeptical of the stories they're told. So is it really just about genes, or is it about who gets to be seen, who gets to be the ideal, and who gets erased in the process?
Eugenics is deeply tied to the idea of racialized superiority. The notion that some races are better than others. I don't think it's a coincidence that this is also the same person who was involved in a kind of soap collaboration. Soap has historically been a really fraught racialized product. Whiteness is associated with cleanliness. All you have to do is Google racist soap ads if you think this is merely a historical idea. Dove recently had to advertise for this debacle where a darker skinned woman took off this, t-shirt, dark t-shirt. By virtue of using Dove, she became clean, cleansed, white.
So now you've got this cultural tug of war. On one side, progress in growing awareness about representation and inclusivity. On the other, a fierce backlash, clinging to outdated ideals wrapped in nostalgia, often coded with racial undertones. And that pushback, that's the audience that some brands are trying to bring in, even if it means stepping into some pretty controversial territory.
In Sydney Sweeney's version of America, what makes you American are your genes.
But who's really the victim here? Is it Sydney Sweeney, now called a hypocrite because she used to call out this exact thing, as we'll dig into next? Or is it the women who get boxed into degrading stereotypes if they don't fit some narrow male fantasy? And what's the real cost of constantly feeding the male gaze, or should I say, the old Americana gaze, not just for women, but for how we all end up defining value, identity, and power?
One day, Sydney Sweeney's gonna be a little too old for their liking, and they're just gonna dump her for the next young, blonde, blue-eyed bombshell.
The rebrand of objectification and its consequences. Let's talk about the male gaze, a term that gets thrown around a lot but deserves a real breakdown. It comes from British film theorist Laura Mulvey, who introduced the concept in her 1975 essay, Visual Pleasure in Narrative Cinema. She argued that in most mainstream films, women aren't just characters, they're visual objects, filmed through a lens that caters to straight male desire.
Good for American Eagle because their stock is up, but I haven't shopped there in 10 years, and this ad objectifying women and selling the male gaze to women is not going to make me want to shop there now. Like, ew.
She broke it down like this: films create pleasure in looking, what she calls scopophilia, or the act of getting pleasure from watching someone who doesn't know they're being watched. The audience is encouraged to take on a male point of view even if they're not male themselves. Women in film are often looked at, desired, and framed for consumption. Meanwhile, men are the ones who do the looking, who move the story forward. Mulvey also talks about narcissistic identification, basically when viewers identify with the male lead because he's the one in control, making decisions and being active. As for the woman, she's passive, there to be looked at, not to act. She doesn't drive the plot, she decorates it.
Why, when women are photographed, even if it's in a non-sexual context, are we placed in sexually compromising positions?
And this isn't just a film problem anymore. The male gaze has spilled into everything. Ads, Instagram, TikTok, pop culture. You see it in Megan Fox being reduced to slow-motion cleavage shots in Transformers, or Kim Kardashian both profiting from and being trapped by a brand built around hypervisibility. Even Sydney Sweeney, talented, complex, smart, gets flattened into a character in her own campaigns. The blonde fantasy, the Bathwater girl, the smoke show in blue jeans.
I'm smiling, but it ain't funny.
And here's the wild part. Sometimes women lean into the gaze and flip it. They monetize it, control it, play it to their advantage. That's what some say Sydney is doing. But here's the catch. Mulvey would argue that even when a woman appears to own the gaze, it's still a structure built to objectify her. You're still playing in a system designed to serve someone else's fantasy. Many people felt like this ad was channeling Brooke Shields' infamous Calvin Klein ad from 1980.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations.
Which is iconic and all, until you remember she was 14 years old doing that and talking about mating and superior genes.
Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations.
That ad leaned into the same survival of the fittest narrative, glorifying certain genes over others.
And the survival of the fittest.
The key difference? That was 1980. And the ad slogan then?
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing.
Basically insinuating that she was wearing nothing under those jeans. Brooke has since reflected on that infamous commercial multiple times, saying, "I was naive. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it had to do with underwear. I didn't think it was sexual in nature." Brooke's reflection shows how easy it is to be part of something without fully grasping how it's being received. And that brings us back to Sydney. Because even if you're in on the joke or the campaign, does that really change how the world sees you? Here's the kicker. Sydney herself has complained about exactly what she's actively seeking right now. She said it made her uncomfortable, now it's her brand. In March 2024, a few months before
Hello, you dirty little boys.
Sydney spoke about feeling dehumanized by the way people fixate on her body, saying she had no control over how she was being perceived. In a 2024 interview with Variety, Sydney was asked how she feels about the way people constantly talk about her body, especially in the wake of her SNL appearance, where the commentary reached a new peak. Her response was telling. She said, "I see it, and I just can't allow myself to have a reaction. People feel connected and feel free to be able to speak about me in whatever way they want because they believe that I've signed my life away, that I'm not on a human level anymore because I'm an actor. It's this weird relationship that people have with me that I have no control or say over." What's interesting, maybe even ironic, is that Sydney's talking about feeling dehumanized and objectified like her body isn't hers anymore, just months before launching a hypersexualized soap campaign that plays directly into that exact fantasy. And not just playing into it, but profiting from it as well.
And this right here is why I was not impressed when Sydney Sweeney was in that Madam Web movie. Because her whole brand has always been blonde hair, blue eyes, big boobs. She will always sell herself short. She only knows how to sell blonde hair, blue eyes, big breasts. Like, girl, get up.
On one hand, she's saying she has no control over how people talk about her. On the other, she's helping craft campaigns that invite that gaze and cash in on it. It doesn't mean her feelings aren't valid, but it does raise the question. If you feel exploited by how people perceive you, why feed that same perception in your own branding? Is this reclaiming the narrative or rebranding the same old objectification with a wink? In that same interview, Sydney ironically highlights the challenges women face in Hollywood, how men not only have it easier, but often get rewarded more for doing less. She said, "As a female, I feel like I have to create the opportunities for myself. I find that we have to prove ourselves over and over again and still not get recognition. I have to build and create projects that I want to be part of." And when asked if she's still pushing for recognition even now, she said, "Always." When asked if a man with her resume would get more recognition, she said that even though there are more actresses than men, there is higher competition. But as a male, it's much easier to do one movie and that does really well, and then you can get offered any film that you want. And me? I'm still getting, "Can she act?" accusations. Go watch Reality, White Lotus, Euphoria, Sharp Objects, Handmaid's Tale, but okay, I'll keep trying to prove myself. That struggle is real and important, but it also makes her current branding all the more complicated. On one hand, she's pushing to be seen as a serious artist and a producer. On the other, she's leaning into marketing that reduces her to just another pretty face.
Weirdly, a lot of my fans are men. I wonder why.
It's like she's caught between two worlds, breaking glass ceilings while still playing by an industry's rules that value women more for how they look than what they do. But where's the line between Sydney as a victim and Sydney as a hypocrite? She's already played into the very same image she later criticized. Remember her SNL Hooters skit?
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, how much tips did you make?
$36,000.
Jesus. What?
Is that low? I wouldn't say low.
In that whole bit, she's serving beers, dropping one, and pouring it straight into a guy's mouth.
Oh my gosh, I am such a klutz.
Reinforcing that exact stereotype she claims to push back against. Then when another girl shows up, it's clear she gets no attention. The focus stays on Sydney, the one with the visibly larger chest.
I'ma stop you right there. I want other girls.
It's a perfect example of the kind of objectification Sydney says she hates, yet she's willingly part of it.
See? No offense, Tina, but you're making us feel bad and you're taking all our tips.
Even the way she's talking is very sultry, with her cleavage out, bopping up and down, and playing into that damsel in distress dumb blonde who's good for nothing besides looking pretty role. And when she closed the show, Sydney was all sexy girl next door jumping around all quirky, showing off America's favorite view.
So wonderful! Have a great day! Thank you!
The year before, Sydney opened up to The Sun about the challenges of being constantly sexualized. She said, "I have big boobs, I'm blonde, and that's all I have." She added, "I had boobs before other girls and I felt ostracized for it." She also called it disgusting and unfair how screenshots of her nude scenes in Euphoria were widely shared, not just online, but in real life too. "It got to a point where they were tagging my family. My cousins don't need that," she explained. Sydney pointed out the cruel irony. Her character faces harsh judgment for being sexualized at school, only to have the audience do the same. "I think it's ridiculous. I'm an artist, I play characters. It makes me want to play characters that piss people off more." Many people were quick to defend Sydney, saying that we can't ignore the male celebrities who are doing the same exact thing, such as Jeremy Allen White and his Calvin Klein campaign. These types of campaigns are meant to be seductive and sexy, and women indeed face significantly more heat for showing skin than men. But others argue that the collective nature of everything that Sydney is doing is more than just giving bedroom eyes and being sexy. One responded to the Jeremy Allen White comparisons, saying, "Please tell me how Jeremy modeling for an underwear brand is anywhere near similar to referencing an ad where an underage girl was sexualized and mentioning how good your jeans are as a white person." Whether it's controversy or calculation, one thing's clear: Sydney knows exactly what she's doing, and it's working. Fantasy sells: how Sydney nails the marketing game. After all the controversy and points we discussed in this video so far, it all comes down to one main thing: this fantasy still sells. Look at the stats. After Dr. Squatch launched the Sydney Bathwater soap, the company was bought by Unilever for $1.5 billion. After the American Eagle campaign was announced, shares of the company jumped more than 4% and have risen to 21% since the campaign dropped. They needed the boost from Sydney because American Eagle's stock is currently down 45% year over year, so they're hoping that this campaign can bring them back on top. And we all know what grabs attention, and it's not subtle. According to researchers at the University of Georgia, sexual imagery in advertising has been on the rise for decades, with ads using it jumping from 15% in the 80s to 27% by the early 2000s. In categories like hygiene and beauty, the number is even higher, up to 38%. It's Psychology 101. People are hardwired to notice what's actually relevant, and marketers know exactly how to package that. Just look at how Sydney Sweeney's Dr. Squash campaign outperformed Mike Tyson's. He's a literal cultural icon, yet his campaign barely made a dent compared to Sydney's Dirty Little Boy's bathtub moment, which racked up over 1.7 million likes. Same brand, different fantasy. Scroll through Sydney's Instagram. Her highest performing posts almost always feature her body, not her resume. This isn't accidental. She's not just endorsing a product, she is the product. And whether you call it branding, bait, or brilliance, it's working. And so, she will keep doing it. Remember that rom-com movie with her and Glenn Powell? They both leaned into the romance rumors, but she was the one spearheading the fake relationship behind the scenes. She admits just how far she took it, saying, "I was on every call, I was in text group chats, I was probably keeping everybody over at Sony Marketing and Distribution awake at night because I couldn't stop with ideas. I wanted to make sure that we were actively having a conversation with the audience as we were promoting this film, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who created the entire narrative." I mean, you have to remember that she didn't just star in the movie, she was an executive producer and was deeply involved in the marketing strategy. She also made sure to incorporate the rumors when she hosted SNL, once again playing into the joke.
Me and my fiance produced the movie together and he was there the entire shoot. Can we cut to him?
At the end of the day, Sydney Sweeney isn't just some clueless blonde caught in the headlights of fame. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's doing it well. From bathwater soap to blue jeans to fake romance rollouts, Sydney is shaping the narrative just as much as she's being shaped by it. She's not just playing the game, she's producing it, starring in it, and marketing the hell out of it. But that doesn't mean the game itself isn't broken. We've talked about objectification, the male gaze, the return to nostalgic Americana aesthetics that exclude more than they include, and how campaigns like these can subtly reinforce regressive ideals, where beauty, desirability, and fantasy still overshadow everything else. And even if Sydney's in on it, does that really change how she's perceived, or how women watching are expected to perform? The car still drives off, the camera still lingers, and the comment section still tells us exactly who this kind of branding was made for. So we're left with a familiar question. Is Sydney Sweeney a savvy brand builder leveraging sexuality? Or is she a symptom of Hollywood's inability to let women be seen as anything more than the fantasy? And more importantly, if it works, does that make it right? What do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. It was a bit different than the usual videos we do here on Scandalous Media, but if you'd like more of these concept videos that discuss deeper ideas beyond the lens of what we see, let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to like and subscribe for new videos every week, put those post notifications on so you don't miss the live chat premiere we do for every single video, follow us on our social media, especially our new Instagram, The Scandalous Media, and as always, I'll see you next time.